Welcome back to the channel, everyone. We're going to be taking a look at the Galaxy S20 Plus today again and comparing it to another iPhone today. And this probably seems the most likely comparison. These two phones are pretty much the same exact prices, and they both have a lot going for them at the end of the day, and that phone is the iPhone 11 Pro Max. And what's funny is, both phones are super competitive. They pretty much are bringing a lot to the table, and still to this day there's still so many differences between both of these phones. It's not even funny. Now, I think both these phones, like I said, bring a lot to the table. They have a lot of cool features and everything, but I do feel like at the end of the day, Samsung, for just some reason, they're able to put so much into their phones. They're able to pack so much into them and all those features and everything that it really makes it hard to see and lay out both phones to be like, oh, this phone is better clearly, or this phone is better clearly, because there's so many different things between them. But I feel like features wise, the S20 Plus probably wins. That's probably easy to say. But again, features are one thing, actual usability and all those things are different. And I have a lot of reasons as to why the 11 Pro Max might be better too. Now, price wise, like I said, they're both about the same price. But lucky for you, the iPhone 11 Pro Max has gone down in value a little bit. So that's always a good thing. I like seeing that. And it's only gone down in the used market because it's been out since September, so it's been out for a couple months, and because of that, the prices have depreciated a little bit in the used market, which is always a good thing. But you can always buy both of these on Amazon, and I'll link these two phones down below so you can get them from Amazon and help support the channel at the same time. But looking on the fronts of both phones, the iPhone 11 Pro Max has a 6.5-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. It's 1242 by 2688, and it's actually a pretty decent panel at the end of the day, and this pretty much, is on par with the XS Max panel, and this panel is really, really good. The screen looks really vivid. It's really, one of the better screens probably in the market. You do have pretty much a little bit of bezel around the display with that notch. It's really not that big of a deal though. I think we're all pretty much used to it at this point. And the screen is very, very nice, and one thing I've always seen is that with True Tone, that is a whole different level. It brings so much warmness to the display, which makes it look really, really nice. And that's something that a lot of phones don't offer. I think it's more than just warming the screen. It's adapting to the surroundings and everything, and it really makes the screen just pop and looks a little bit less washed out. So with the 11 Pro Max, I really do like that screen. But with the Samsung Galaxy S20 Plus, we have a 6.7-inch dynamic AMOLED display. That panel is 1440p by 3200, and that one has 525 pixels per inch, and that display I think is probably better than the 11 Pro Max. I really do like that panel a lot. You have very little bezel around the display, but you also have a hole punch display, whereas on the 11 Pro Max, like I said, you have that notch. And for sure, I do believe that the S20 Plus is probably the better display at the end of the day. It looks so good, and I do think Samsung actually sources the panels for the 11 Pro. So Samsung actually creates the panels for those phones, and like I said before, I think Samsung just saves the panels for themselves, the better ones, because the S20 Plus is seriously some really good panel on it. The S20 Plus also has the really cool feature of 120Hz refresh rate, so basically everything will be refreshed on the screen on the Samsung Galaxy S20 Plus faster than on the iPhone 11 Pro Max, which is a really cool thing, and it's super underrated for the most part. I really don't even think many people are talking about it right now, but it's really a cool feature, and I love that thing so much. On the bottom, S20 Plus has a USB Type-C port, the 11 Pro Max has a Lightning port, and on the back you can see it's kind of like a triple camera setup, but kind of like a quadruple on the S20 Plus. They both have 3 real cameras, but the S20 Plus has an additional depth sensor, which is really cool, and it adds, I guess, a little bit of an effect on the S20 Plus's camera, and just one more reason to pick that phone up over the 11 Pro Max. But both phones have really good sensors at the end of the day, and I'll make separate camera test videos on these hopefully, and I'll do separate speed tests and all that stuff, but they both also have IP68 dust and water resistance. Funny enough, the Samsung Galaxy S20 Plus can go up to 1.5 meters of water for 30 minutes, but the iPhone 11 Pro Max can go up to 4 meters of water for 30 minutes, so a little bit of an advantage on the 11 Pro Max for sure. And in terms of the outside, they either really pretty much covers it. One doesn't really, blow the other one out of the water in terms of the way they feel. They both feel extremely nice and everything, so in terms of the outside, that really pretty much covers it. Now, hitting on the software, the Samsung Galaxy S20 Plus came out with One UI 2 on Android 10, and even though we have the first public beta of Android 11, this thing is still on Android 10, which is okay. All phones right now are pretty much on Android 10, so it's not a big deal. and this phone's probably going to be getting 2 extra years of support, so it's going to be getting One UI 3 and then One UI 4, and it's probably going to stop there based off Samsung's previous behavior, where the iPhone 11 Pro Max started off with iOS 13. Right now we're on iOS 13.3.1, and what I can tell you about the software updates to the 11 Pro Max is that phone is going to last so long. It's just going to last for pretty much forever at this point, and it's not like it's just going to randomly stop, getting updates next year or 2 years from now. The 11 Pro Max is going to be lasting for a very, very long time in terms of the software, and here's how I'll break it down. The iPhone 11 Pro Max will not only outlast the Samsung Galaxy S20 Plus, but it will probably outlast the S21 Plus and probably even the S22 Plus, and probably even further than that, who knows. This phone is going to be lasting a long time in terms of software, and like I said before, Samsung really needs to up in their gear. They need to start pushing more software updates to their older phones in order to stay competitive, and the software updates on iOS side and with iPhones is no joke. They really take support of their devices, which is really, really cool, and I love seeing that. So in terms of software, that pretty much covers it. Now hitting on the performance, the iPhone 11 Pro Max has the Apple A13 Bionic chip, a hexa-core CPU, and there's 3 different models of this phone with 4GB of RAM on each model, where the Samsung Galaxy S20 Plus has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 chipset, an octa-core CPU, and a Adreno 650 GPU, and there's only one model of the S20 Plus and the 128GB model with 8GB of RAM. And what I can tell you about the performances is that both phones are extremely fast performing devices at the end of the day. One doesn't necessarily feel way faster than the other one, but like I've been seeing before, I feel like the Samsung Galaxy S20 Plus is probably the fastest phone in the market right now. It's very smooth, it's very fast, it's just very fluid every single which way, and I do believe it is faster than my iPhone 11 Pro Max just by a little bit. I still feel like my 11 Pro Max is just smoother a little bit. If I go ahead and open apps and everything, it seems like it's just like less stutterier and less glitchy on my 11 Pro Max than on my S20 Plus. But here's the biggest thing, and this is the biggest takeaway from this. In terms of the performance, if you look at the older phones, okay, even if you look at the Galaxy S10, which is not even that old, but in today's standards, I guess it's a year old or whatever, that phone, when it first came out and I was comparing it to all my other phones and everything, I was like, this phone is so fast, it's so smooth, it's like the fastest phone I ever used or whatever, this and that. And I was definitely saying it was faster than my iPhone XS and, all those other phones. But here's the issue. Over time, those phones, Android phones like that, tend to slow down a lot faster than the iPhones of that era too. So if I look at my iPhone XS and if I look at my Galaxy S10, my iPhone XS right now is much more smoother and much more, it's a little bit faster, but it's definitely much more smoother than my Galaxy S10. And that's the same thing here. The Galaxy S20 Plus might be the faster one for the time being, but I think over time, the iPhone 11 Pro Max will probably end up being the faster one just because of the past way and how those phones have tended, gone down and being slowed down a little bit. So that's kind of my take on it. Both phones are extremely fast. I would not necessarily pick up one phone over the other in terms of the performance, but that's pretty much how I'm feeling right now. So in terms of the performance, that pretty much covers it. Now hitting on the cameras, like I said, they both have triple camera setups. The Galaxy S20 Plus has an additional depth sensor, which I'll get into in a second. The iPhone 11 Pro Max has a 12 megapixel wide angle lens, 12 megapixel telephoto lens, and then an additional 12 megapixel ultra wide sensor, while the Samsung Galaxy S20 Plus has a 12 megapixel wide angle lens, a 64 megapixel telephoto lens, a 12 megapixel ultra wide sensor, and then a 0.3 megapixel depth sensor. And what I can tell you about the cameras of both is that both are very good cameras. Both can shoot 4K 60 frames, and they have a lot of capability within those. Really, whenever I did anything with both phones, the cameras were really nice, and I didn't really find one being way better than the other one. But the biggest advantage of the Samsung Galaxy S20 Plus right now is the ability to shoot 8K videos, which is something that not a lot of cameras have the capability of doing, and that's seriously an awesome feature. And if you have the capability, you might as well take advantage of it. And really, there's no point in doing it at this point. I don't think a lot of people are shooting 8K videos. I'll be honest, I don't even think a lot of people are shooting 4K videos at even 30 frames. So I think 8K is overkill for a majority of people, but having that ability to do it is just something that's so awesome. And whether you use it or not, you have that feature there. I say the same thing with custom ROMing or jailbreaking. Whether you use it or not, you have that capability. And with the Samsung Galaxy S20 Plus, you're able to do so. And in the future, I'm sure that's going to become the norm of being added into a lot of phones, and being able to have that ability is really awesome. So I love Samsung for doing that, and you have that capability on this phone where you don't have it on the 11 Pro Max. On the front, 12 megapixel sensor on the 11 Pro Max, 10 megapixel sensor on the S20 Plus. They both can shoot 4K 60, and the front cameras are pretty much the same on both. I feel like the 11 Pro Max is a little bit better there, but in terms of the camera quality, I think I would probably side with the Samsung Galaxy S20 Plus here. I feel like that phone probably has the better camera between both of them, so that really pretty much covers it up there. Now, ending it off with the battery life, the Samsung Galaxy S20 Plus has a 4500 mAh battery, the iPhone 11 Pro Max has a 3969 mAh battery, so almost like a 4000 mAh battery. And what I can tell you about the battery life of both phones is that pretty much I would probably side with the iPhone 11 Pro Max having the better battery life, even if the S20 Plus didn't have that 120Hz refresh rate on. That phone has such good battery life. iOS is a very, small operating system. It doesn't require a lot of resources. It doesn't suck up a lot of battery. Because of that, this phone, even though it has a ginormous screen and OLED and all that stuff, the iPhone 11 Pro Max's battery life is extremely good. It's super underrated. I don't even think a lot. It's super good. A lot of people love it, and I love it too. It's a really good battery life at the end of the day. The Samsung Galaxy S20 Plus is still a very good battery life. It's one of the top tier ones in the market, but I truly do believe that the iPhone 11 Pro Max has the better battery life for sure. So in terms of battery life, that pretty much covers it. Now, to kind of sum up the comparison and to answer the question, should you pick up a Galaxy S20 Plus? Should you pick up 11 Pro Max? Which one should you get? I'll probably say, if it was between both of them, you would really have to choose whether you liked having all the features at one point or would you like longevity, because I do feel like longevity wise, the iPhone 11 Pro Max would probably be the better phone as of right now in terms of longevity. But if you want all the features and bells and whistles of a phone, the Samsung Galaxy S20 Plus might be the way to go. One doesn't necessarily scream to me that it's way better than the other one, but I do think longevity, 11 Pro Max is the way to go, but features wise, the S20 Plus is the way to go. So that really pretty much covers it. If you guys have any other questions or anything, leave it down in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that means so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it means so much if you guys could hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel, all those links are linked down below. I'd really appreciate if you guys could check it out. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.